So how do you fit 3 outside linebackers into 2?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, right? Obviously, with Aziz coming on and the impact he's been able to have for us, he's earned the opportunity to play, right? So it's really good getting Kayvon back out there, seeing him going back through it, kind of see where it progresses with him this week, see where we're at come Sunday, but optimistic with him, and we'll see where it goes. But it's a good problem to have.
Will he be on a pitch count?
I am not sure of that yet. I think we'll see where the week goes with that, but I don't have a number for you right now.
You spend your bye week concentrating on the run defense, the run that side of it. Is that? Yeah,
I mean, you look at everything. I mean, you go back and watch it all just to kind of see what you're doing. But yeah, the explosive runs, like this, an area we got to improve. I mean, it's 3 to 4 runs a game, right? And then you got another 20, 22 that you feel pretty good about, right? So we got to do a good job finding ways to eliminate those, making sure we're tackling, making sure we're fitting things appropriately, playing with fundamentals, being where we're supposed to be, getting off blocks, right? Getting off blocks and making sure we're getting to the football. So it's a myriad of things that kind of showed up as you go back and watch. I think there were 33 running back ones that were explosive, which is too many. And really, that's what's setting us back behind everything. So, I mean, just the percentages, over 85% of the snaps, you feel pretty good. It's 2.5 per rush, whatever. Like, that's really good run defense. And then you get these explosive in there, and it just kind of escalates everything. So we got to make sure we do a good job of eliminating those and minimizing those, right? Like, you might give up a 10, 12-yarder, but let's not turn that thing into 25 or 30.
Has there been a common denominator to those?
There hasn't. I mean, it's been sporadic. I think it's been different guys in different spots at different times, right? So I think tackling is the one thing that shows up. Yards after contact, we're towards the bottom of the league, right? Just in yards per carry, what teams are getting after contact. We've missed too many tackles. I think that's contributed, and then just fit understanding, making sure we're where we're supposed to be and not jumping under, not jumping outside until that ball declares.
Is there anything, you mentioned those factors a lot throughout the year, like personnel-wise, you have to make changes there to see if maybe just another guy will do a better job?
I think it's just continuing to focus on our fundamentals, like the tackling, making sure we work it every day ad nauseum, but that's got to be something we continue to improve. And again, like, obviously not doing it enough if it's not showing up on Sunday. So it's just something we got to continue to emphasize and work on. And I think the other big part of it is just getting off blocks, right? Like making sure we're shedding. It's one thing, we got to make sure we're where we're supposed to be when the ball is still back there to go wherever. But at some point we got to be able to shed and show up and make some plays.
Is there any advantage with the bye week versus, like you said, day to day you're drilling it, you're grinding, but you're grinding for that next game? The idea that, is there a reset that could be made where the guys come back to the practice field on Monday and you could kind of wipe the slate clean a little bit and say, okay, we're just going to go back to what we need to do and get rid of habits, or is it really just more of the same?
I think it's definitely you change your emphasis. You find ways to recreate the situations they're finding themselves in those Sundays as best you can. As a coach, hopefully we're evaluating that week to week in terms of the drills we're doing. But I think just with the extra time and being able to have them in the meeting room, you can really go through and show all the things consecutively, where on a normal week, you're really coaching off one game, right? You're coaching off the previous game, and then you're kind of on to the next. So it gives you some time to dive back through where the players can see the bulk of it instead of just a certain instance on the Sunday previously. So there's a little bit more focus, I guess, that you're able to get out of it.
What do you see in Mayfield and what he brings to them?
Yeah, he's having a really good year. Again, the ability to create is always there with him, to extend plays, to scramble. He's going to take the open lanes if those are there. He's doing a good job distributing, getting the ball in guys' hands. They've done a really good job after the catch. I think their perimeter players, the running backs, they've all done a really good job after the catch. He's going to take his shots. He's going to find ways to get it to Evans down the field. We understand that. But I think he's comfortable in the system, and it shows, knowing where to go with the ball. He's including everybody. So it's going to be a big challenge for him. He's playing at a really high level right now. I think he's top 5 in just about every category, quarterback-wise, and he's got a lot of weapons. And I think that the 2 backs, how they utilize them, not only in the run game, but also in the passing game with the screens and some of that stuff, they got a lot of ways they can attack you.
Understanding that Dexter can't play every single snap. If I remember correctly, last game he was on the bench to start the third quarter, coming out of the 20-minute halftime break.
Yeah.
Why did he need a breather there?
Yeah, I think, we do a good job trying to manage throughout the games where those snaps are accounted for. Dre does a really good job of handling that and just making sure we got these guys fresh at the fourth quarter when it matters most, especially when a lot of these games are coming down to the wire. And we're especially, that game, you go back and look, there was 4 drives there at the end where we had to get stops and we were able to. So just trying to manage throughout the game a little bit with him. We're fresh in the fourth, and obviously we want him out there every snap, right? Like, I wish he could play 100%. I would never take him off the field if I could, but to be able to get him at his best, we got to find some spots to rotate other guys in.
Fabio Carrique is really important to this defense, but it doesn't feel like he's had the impact maybe that he could have. What are you seeing from him, and maybe how can you get more out of him?
Yeah, I think he's done a good job overall. I really do. I think he's continuing to play downhill, trying to find ways to pick his moments when to trigger and get downhill and be a little bit more assertive downhill. But he's physical when he does. You feel him, on those linemen, taking those guys on, and I think just continue to evolve in the passing game where we can find ways to utilize his length, right? Like zone coverage, between him and some of these other longer players, like they can take up a lot of space without really being in a lot of places, right? Just because their length and their vision. So continue to evolve some of that where we can use him that way and take advantage of some of his length and ball production that he's had.
Does a quarterback change as a defensive coordinator for your team? I'm saying a quarterback change. Does it affect you at all?
Yeah, no. I think we got to make sure we're focused on us and controlling what we can control, and we got plenty to worry about defensively, especially with this cast coming in. I think the biggest thing for coaching staffs, for players, like you support all your teammates, whether they're playing or not, right? Like you're going to ride behind whoever's in there. You're going to support the guys who aren't in there just the same because, again, they could be in there at any moment. That's football. Being a good teammate, making sure you're supporting one another, encouraging one another, and ultimately we got to do our part. Like we got to do our part to help whoever's on that side of the ball. We got to do our part, get some takeaways. Another area we struggled with, right? Like it's another way we can help the offense too.
We'll take 2 more. Anything you're doing differently? We only get to see the first 10 minutes in practice to emphasize the takeaways. Like we added more ball stripping drills or anything at all you're doing, Shane, to tweak it?
Yeah, I think making a bigger emphasis to show them, right? To show them opportunities. Going back through the opportunities that we've missed to attack the ball. I think the one that's glaring to me is with all the sack production and the pressure production, not being able to get off the quarterback. Quarterbacks are #1 fumblers in the NFL, year after year after year. So when you get opportunities to get it off them and you're back there, making sure we don't miss opportunities to get off the quarterback because we've missed a handful where we should have been able to get off the quarterback.
How do you explain one pick? Have you been around something like that before?
I wish I had an explanation because then I could probably have a solution, right? I think we just got to make them when we have chances. There's a couple that we haven't made when we've had some chances to get them. Continue to make sure we take advantage of the opportunities when we're in vision and break zone type coverages. You play man, it gets hard. Like again, the main objective man coverage is to make sure your guy doesn't catch the ball. So when you're in those man coverages, it gets a little hard because you're focused on driving and closing space, and you got to play through the hands a little bit more where you don't have as much vision to break on some throws. I think the batted balls show up. Like that's an area we've done decent at, but being able to get some more batted balls, get some tip passes in the air that we can come down with, and ultimately making sure we continue to affect the quarterback, right? Let's force him to make some errant throws, some quicker decisions with the football when he might not be ready to, and hopefully in the right spot, and we can make the plays when they're there. But again, I'm searching just like you right now. We're looking, trying to find ways to where we can create some more turnovers.
When you're showing the clips of like getting to the quarterback and you're emphasizing that, I guess what are you pointing out that they could do better or that you want to see from them?
Yeah, I think just attacking the ball. Like there's been a few where a lot of times that quarterback doesn't feel that guy, especially on the edge, right? Like whether he's coming from behind. There were a couple where we were coming frontal on him and he's got it there and he doesn't really see us and we don't attack it. So making sure there's a ball emphasis. Again, talk out both sides of your mouth because this week we're telling him the same thing. Baker's strong in the pocket. He's going to try to avoid, like, make sure you're able to stay on your feet. Like you can't lunge at the dude, but at the same time, if the ball's there or if I'm trying to reach from the backside, like don't miss opportunities to use our length, be long, and try to swat down on the ball at his arm, at his elbow, whatever that might be to see if we can dislodge the ball.